totoo.
Good evening. You're watching SMNI. This is Business and Politics. I'm your host, Dante Clinton. My guest tonight is Secretary Norberto Gonzales. He served as National Security Advisor and Defense Secretary during the Arroyo administration. During that stint, he was part of the government panel that held peace talks with secessionists and communist rebels. Secretary Gonzales is a social democrat. In 2022, he ran for president under PDSP, or Partido Democrático Socialista ng Pilipinas. He said then that elections were an opportunity for social change, but unfortunately, his campaign came up short. Because security issues have been in the news lately, Secretary Gonzales has returned to the national spotlight as various media organizations interviewed him for his inputs and assessments. Now, Business and Politics will get a chance to ask him questions. We'll begin with, how do you keep the Philippines safe, both from internal and external security threats? Secretary? Secretary Bert, thank you for making time for Business and Politics. Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Sir, your return to national news, is that cause for anxiety for the Philippines, or what are you seeing? What are you seeing on the security landscape that today in the Philippines?
Well, the reason why I suddenly started answering some inquiries because some personalities, for example, in sensitive institutions of the country, have started asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
For example, in the armed forces, they sense that their institution is beginning to be part of the concern that that could affect the overall security of the nation. And I happen to be around.
You're the expert.
Yeah, they.
Sir, there are two things happening. Firstly, the new law that gives the Chief of Staff and flag officers a fixed term. And also recently, John Masizon passed away, of course, calling to question the future of the CPP, NPA, and the F movement in the country. What's your latest assessment of how those two dynamics are playing out?
Well, I think the law is, examining the law and its implication, I think is important at this time. I remember that ideas were floating within the institution of the armed forces in the past that I think should be reviewed. For example, in the matter of really making sure that the best among our officers are the ones who climb to the ladder of promotion. For example, there are certain lessons like if you achieve the rank of colonel, for example, and then at a given point, you are not rising beyond being colonel, then you will be asked to retire. So that is one way of really just allowing the promotion of people who can measure up to the demands of the institution. I really don't see that in the law that we have today. And second, I think the present Secretary of National Defense is saying that maybe the idea of really having fixed terms for the higher officers have to be reevaluated also.
Okay.
I will support this. I will support it because you see, even if you have that law, the president really can determine. What is important, I think, for the armed forces is to be given naman the kind of national leadership that would be sensitive to the demand of making sure that we continue to have a professional armed forces.
Okay. The system before, where we seemingly had like a revolving door for the chief of staff. There were some occasions when the person occupying that position was only there for a matter of months. Was that harmful to
You see,
the
that,
system?
that removed the kind of flexibility that we need in handling an institution as sensitive as the armed forces, because it is within the power of the president to actually determine how long a particular office will be occupied by certain officers.
Particularly in the military.
Yeah, that's why. Why not continue with that?
Okay.
The fault is not, you cannot allow that certain defects, by certain personalities in our political system will be cured by certain laws.
Okay.
I think we have to look into the quality of national leadership that we will have, because that will impact on an institution like the armed forces.
Right. The last time we met at the Manila Times, you were saying that things were stable now. That was at least a week ago. Mm-hmm. Are you holding on to that assessment, or have you seen any developments since?
As I said, I think there is no desire in the part of the armed forces to destabilize the nation.
They become professional.
I think their priority is really stability of the nation, especially in times like this, wherein there are other concerns in the world and in the country itself, that if you have an institution contributing to the destabilization of society, I think they are aware of that. So they will not contribute to that.
Well, of course, it's a good time that maybe a bad time that this is happening now, because they're one of the main threats that the military has been looking at, of course, are the communist rebellion in the Philippines. With Joe Masizon passing away, what have you heard has been the impact on the NPA organization on the ground here?
Well, we have not really heard on the matter of who will be the next leader of the CPP-NPA. Joe Masizon really is more of a symbol to the communist movement than actually occupying top position in the CPP-NPA.
He was not on the operations.
I would think that the operational side of the CPP-NPA is intact. So they are now looking for a new symbol, like Joe Masizon has been with them from the beginning. So I think what they will be looking for is more looking for a symbol, and that is very important to the communist movement. But as far as operation is concerned, I think it will continue.
Do you think, with Mr. Masizon gone, do you think there is a window of opportunity to maybe either pursue peace, or maybe, through military means, pursue the eradication of the left entirely?
Well, this is the problem, because we really, what you have mentioned, for example, is very fundamental. If we really want to solve the communist threat, you have to go to the basic,
the root cause.
In the belief of the communist movement.
The ideology.
In the ideology itself, we have not really confronted this. We are looking at the manifestations of a fundamental teaching or theory of the communist movement. And this is the belief of the communists, that you can only achieve political power through violent means, through a violent revolution. The question or the threat of communism has been solved by other countries by looking and addressing this particular point in their ideology. Our communist movement in the Philippines continue to maintain that political power comes out of the barrel of the gun. That has to be addressed. Meaning, we can always tell the communists, and you see, we actually try to do this in our political practice, that it is possible to achieve political power or dominance in governance without resorting to violence. And that is our electoral system. And in fact, we have seen with some disappointment that the communists actually try to learn how our politicians are practicing their politicking so that they can achieve political power. They have engaged in cheating, in vote buying, just like our
Just like the traditional politicians.
just like all other traditional politicians, and they're doing very well.
Okay.
Actually. So they have actually taken that particular. So what we are saying is this. I think that when we do negotiation, we'll have to undergo our negotiation on the level of ideology. That if they will just remove that particular belief that you need violence to be in government, then that it will be okay. Meaning that you renounce the use of arms. This has happened in other movements of communists in the world. For example, of course, it's very disappointing to hear of Nicaragua today.
Okay.
But in the beginning, they were able to agree. No more armed struggle. In fact, they surrendered all their weapons
Okay.
in exchange for political funding, and they won.
Okay.
They became the government in Nicaragua. Unfortunately, today, the leaders that has that revolutionary fervor to help their people are abusing their own people today.
Okay.
But it doesn't erase the possibility, the fact that giving up armed struggle does not mean that you will no longer be in government.
Right.
This that happened in Nicaragua. It happened in El Salvador. It happened in Spain
Okay.
during the dictatorship of Franco.
Can it happen here, or how can it happen here?
Well, it is actually, they are in our Congress today.
Okay.
They are paying. There was a time during the early part of the Duterte administration that they were occupying
Cabinet positions.
cabinet positions.
Yeah.
What else do they ask for?
Yeah.
Are they asking? The opportunities are there. We have been very open to the possibility that communists can enter our government,
Right.
provided they give up armed struggle.
Okay. Well, you have a president who's been in office for about 7 months now, but more recently you have a returning chief of staff, you have a new defense secretary, you have a new national security advisor. And granted, they've been with the previous government, but they're relatively new in their current positions. I don't know if they've come to you for advice or for discussion, but if you had the opportunity to discuss this with them, what would be an effective plan moving forward to address, well, in particular the left?
Well, actually, nothing new is needed because
Nothing new.
Certain specifics of the peace process have been tried before.
Well, let me put it another way. They I think in the past they said that no more wholesale peace talks. Now they're going to talk to rebels at the local level. Should they continue that? Should they reopen peace talks again? But with whom, right? Or should they do something else entirely?
Well, I think do all of this.
Okay, at the same time.
Do all of this at the same time, and I think that especially our current president will probably have the opportunity to have effective, not necessarily open or necessarily very, broadcasting it. This president that we have today will have an opportunity to get quiet but effective third-party facilitator
Okay.
to convince the communist movement in the Philippines to give up armed struggle.
Okay.
That's possible.
Right. But ideologically, do you think they're ready? Because as you said, their thinking really is class warfare, right? But that ideology has collapsed with the disintegration of the Soviet Union, right? The global communist system. I mean, we would think that that ideology is outdated, but are they ready for the new world?
The communist ideology consists of two parts.
Okay.
How to get to power is one part.
Okay.
The other part is when you are in power,
Okay.
what kind of society do you want to achieve in the particular country that you're in? I think it's time for them to focus on the second part. And I think giving up armed struggle on the first part of the effort will not affect in any way their desire to give their version of governance. No. So, to me, their counterparts in the world
Right.
have actually tried giving up the first and concentrating on the second part of their ideology, and they have succeeded in being in government.
Okay.
Whether they have succeeded in fulfilling what they promised to the people with the ones governing is another matter.
Okay. Now, before we go on break, Secretary, I mean, how would you assess the level of threat? I mean, is it something that is very high on the security agenda, or is it something that we can ignore and just allow to wither away in time?
You know, I think that there is no desire in the part of groups in the Philippines to do violence.
Okay.
In the first place, we have our economic situation in the country is such that it will be very difficult for our people to give up what they're doing to earn a living and be part of a more adventurous type of politicking. No? This is the condition today. It will be very difficult. If ever there will be movements, I would think that the masses will not be involved in the same manner that we have seen in our history. It will probably an effort of certain institutions or certain groups.
Right.
No? Whether they will succeed or not is another matter. But there is no general desire
Right.
no, to engage in extra constitutional effort to be in government.
So would it be correct to summarize what you're saying is we can sleep quietly at night for now? Is that what you're saying?
The problem is,
Okay, there's a problem.
the problem is, I think there is a need for government
Okay.
to take advantage of this
Okay. Well,
opportunity.
we'll take it up. Take that up in a moment. We'll just have to take a quick break. This is Business and Politics. We're talking to Secretary Norberto Gonzales.
Rescue ng 10 katao matapos sumiklab ang
Sa pagsuko kahapon ng 3 miyembro ng CPP-NPA.
Aprobado na sa House Committee.
sa panayam ng SMNA News.
Pag ang totoo ay totoo, lilitaw talaga yan.
We don't need to explain because truth needs no justification. We are not afraid because the truth will always win. When we ask questions, it's always for the good of all. We question to build, not to break. We question to clarify, not to confuse. We question to protect, not hurt. Truth hurts, but it heals. Tune in to SMNI, where truth is free. SMNI, defining true press freedom.
Welcome back to Business and Politics. We're talking to Secretary Gonzales. Sir, I cut you off. You were saying that there is a window of opportunity, given all of the scenarios you've mentioned. What is that for the Marcos administration?
Do well.
Do well, okay.
do well, because you see, the imagined or real possible opposition to government would rather see government to succeed.
Okay.
Because, you know, if you are an authentic reformist or revolutionary, the first consideration you will have in your heart and in your mind is the kind of living that your people is given to.
Okay.
Now, if the situation cannot be handled properly so that the people is seen to be suffering because of a particular kind of governance, then you will have a problem.
Then you see the old issues again.
Yeah, because even if they do not like, nobody wants to create trouble today.
Okay.
That is a plus.
Okay.
You know, nobody wants.
So as I said, we can sleep soundly tonight, but we have to act on the opportunities.
That is why, to me, we're actually looking for a formula. You know, those who are concerned about the nation are looking for formulas. And what do we do now? Do we cooperate with government, help it succeed, or you see a government that will not succeed anyway? So
Okay.
might as well think of means of replacing it.
Right. Well, a lot of people say that most of the problems of the Philippines now, particularly on the economic front, are external, right? You have inflation, the foreign exchange rates, and others. I suppose you could say similar things about the security front, right? I mean, you have Ukraine, you have, I think the last time we talked, we were talking about President Kishida of Japan saying there are new flashpoints in Asia. And you yourself, you were, particularly concerned about the global mood. You were saying that they seem to be gearing themselves for conflict. Could you elaborate on that?
You see, we have to start blaming. I mean, we understand.
Okay.
For example, we know that this administration is suffering from the possible deficiencies of past administrations.
Okay.
We know that. We know that the situations of the economy of the world is affecting us. We know that. But people are asking, so what do we do?
Okay.
What do we do? We're suffering.
All right.
Okay? What are the solutions? How can we contribute? This should be the question that should be answered.
Okay.
Stop saying, no, it's not my fault.
Right.
It's like this, it's like this, it's like this. We all know that.
Okay.
Our people, you may not think that they do. They understand.
Okay.
But what they do not understand is, okay, we're with you. It's not your fault. It's nobody's fault.
Right.
But we're suffering.
Right. So what should we do? What's your proposed game plan for the government?
We can only do some little contributions. For example, it's the matter of really, for example, when we address certain problems, we're looking at the externals, the manifestations, but we have to address properly. For example, in the case of food security, no,
Okay.
there are indications that we are not succeeding in addressing the fundamentals of
Right.
or requirement of food security. Like, why is the question of prices of onions, of salt, of sugar,
Eggs, yeah.
yeah, eggs? These are manifestations that there's something wrong already, and it's not a matter of saying, well, kasi ganito yan eh.
Right.
No. But for example, maybe we have not appreciated that we are no longer this small nation of long ago.
Okay.
We are a fast-growing, big nation.
Okay.
The requirements of food is different.
Okay.
We cannot continue, for example, to entrust our food requirement with the same sector that we are used to to rely on. We have to think big. And to me, there are indications that we can do something about this. For example, we are using the wrong sector. For example, to produce the kind of food that we need or is required by a big population such as the Philippines.
So what's the right sector? Yeah.
Our industry.
Okay.
For example,
You mean as opposed to backyard farming, go to corporate farming?
but this
Scale.
is go corporate, or
Scale.
not just corporate, mega corporate scale.
Okay.
Because of what? For example, we have these industries in the Philippines. You worry about when I listen to the agriculture people, They're worrying about farm-to-market roads. They're worrying about packaging. They're worrying about what will happen to this good transferring from A to B, like that. A corporation can handle that with ease and with efficiency.
Okay.
They know how to handle these things.
Okay.
So why is government trying to do things that certain sectors of our society can handle?
Okay.
Devote it to them. For
Okay.
example, you see, for example, I heard the San Miguel Corporation is putting up chicken farms that will harvest 80 million chickens per year.
Okay.
That's the kind of level that we need.
Okay.
If you have to increase the meat production that is needed by our people, hold them.
Okay.
You know, during the time of GM, I remember I said that let's call Del Monte, let's call Dole, these things, and match it.
Okay.
Match it so that you can increase the productivity.
Okay.
And it's not just food production. Agriculture has the potential of earning currency for us. We have sugar, we have the fiber industry, we have coconut, we have, bring them together. It doesn't necessarily mean that we will not give attention to our farmers.
Right.
No, that's another matter. But when it comes to food security, you look at the sector that can deliver.
Yeah.
And I think that is the industrial sector of our agriculture, and they are there.
Yeah. Can I play a bit of devil's advocate, Secretary? Because you mentioned Dole and Del Monte. You mentioned, of course, bananas and pineapples. These have been wildly successful in the Philippines, but these are also sectors where government has intervened the least. Whereas, in rice, coconut, you've seen underdevelopment, underperformance of those sectors. So isn't there an argument to be made that, let's look at pineapples and bananas, and the lesson there may be for government not to interfere?
No, the thing is that I think that when it comes to resources, you give resources to those who
Okay.
can deliver.
Okay.
For example, rice.
Okay.
I have to admit, we have no rice industry in the Philippines.
Okay.
It's something that we need to establish.
Okay.
But my only appeal there are people who will do not force us into a situation where we're trying to plant rice where there is no water.
Okay.
There's so much water in other
Right.
parts of the country. Things like that.
Right.
That, help the industries take off. Actually, the problem is not whether they will fail or not.
Okay.
The problem is that what we will look is something social already. The problem, it will have social cost, and that is where government must come in also.
Okay.
Other than supporting them with resources, I think that, when you go agriculture, you're thinking of millions of agricultural workers.
Okay.
Many farmers do not want to remain farmers.
Right.
Many farmers do not want their children to remain farmers or to become farmers precisely because a farmer, we call them heroes, but we condemn them to a situation wherein they get less than what they give. So that should be corrected. If you industrialize the different crops in agriculture, for example, the remaining problem is social, meaning how we will now begin to classify the workers that will be in these industries. Very simple. You allow the organization of trade unions. You allow collective bargaining agreements by workers who will be in this country. Then you balance it. But because what is needed is for those who are working in these industries are treated properly.
Okay.
To my mind, as an example of food security, allow those who knows the business and help them even, but protect the workers that will be working under them.
Right.
By allowing certain things that we already have also.
Right. Secretary, we have to take another quick break. This is Business and Politics. We're talking to Secretary Bert Gonzales.
Nais mo bang mapanood ang SMNI sa telebisyon? Kung ikaw ay Sky Cable subscriber, narito ang mga channels kung saan pwedeng mapanood ang SMNI. Sa National Capital Region, Sky Cable Channel 162. Cebu, Sky Cable Channel 37. Davao City, Sky Cable Channels 14, 43 at 46. General Santos City, Sky Cable Channel 37. Zamboanga, Sky Cable Channel 53. Bacolod, Sky Cable Channel 37. Iloilo, Sky Cable Channel 36. Dumaguete, Sky Cable Channel 37. Baguio, Sky Cable Channel 14. At Lawag, Sky Cable Channel 10. Para naman sa mga Signal subscribers ay mapapanood ang SMNI sa Channel 186 sa buong bansa. Maaari ring mapanood ang SMNI sa Digital TV sa Davao City at Manila. Pati na rin sa TV Plus at GMA of 4 Bucks. Ano pang hinihintay mo? Panoorin mo na ang SMNI sa inyong telebisyon. Dahil dito sa SMNI, taong bayan ang bida.
Welcome back to Business and Politics. We're talking to Secretary Norberto Gonzales. Sir, can I circle back to the geopolitical question or the external security threats? Because you were, I think the last time we talked, you were quite concerned about like the mindset in Europe, like they've sort of given up peace already, right? And of course, the other things in the region are also in the news. What's your assessment of what the Marcos government will be facing on the security issues on the external front?
Well, I think the president is beginning to feel the problem of being neutral.
Okay.
Completely neutral. You can begin to see the problem,
difficulties.
the difficulties in all of that. So we begin to probably consider other options.
So should the government ditch that let's be friend to all, enemy to no one, or should it just be refined? What's your take?
The refinement that we need is, when you declare to be neutral, make sure that you can be.
Okay.
And in other, for example, if you take examples of other countries in the world, they were able to stay neutral because they have the capacity.
A credible minimum defense.
Yeah, they have the credibility in the world that they can do so.
Yeah.
In our case, I do not think we have that credibility. So if you'll ask me, do you want to be neutral? The question is, can we afford to be neutral at this point? Now, there are certain fundamentals that you can see. To me, we focus on what we can do on our own. And that's where we begin.
Okay.
Never mind if we don't have the resources to create extended defense capabilities for our Navy, Air Force.
Okay.
The realities in the world is that when conflict really happens, that a nation is really obliged to classify friends and foes.
Okay.
Those things will come.
Okay.
But what is fundamental that we should be showing is that are we deserving of world cooperation, for example?
Are we? I mean, I don't know. What's your take? I mean, some people say that there are geographically that's our key resources. We just happen to be lucky to be in this particular area that's
you
significant.
To me, what really matters is the quality of our people.
Okay.
There are fundamentals that we have to settle. Number one, we never ask the question whether we love our country or not.
Okay.
We don't know.
Okay.
Do we?
We should, right?
We should know.
Yeah.
Because that is fundamental.
Okay.
Do
you sense that Filipinos are lacking in that regard?
No, I think we love our country.
Okay.
We really love our country.
Okay.
We have the capacity to really, really, really love our country to the point of sacrificing our lives.
Okay.
But we are not given the opportunity to express it.
Okay.
We need programs. We need government initiatives that will show to the world, hey, they love their country.
Right.
They will defend their country. You know, why will you worry about a country who doesn't love itself?
Right.
Why will you worry about country?
Why would you defend something like that?
Yeah, why will you, why will you love this country? Look at their citizens. They will go anywhere. They have no loyalties whatsoever. They're corrupt. They're
As
like
opposed
this.
to like Ukraine, who's
Yes,
really laying down their lives to.
We used to be
Okay.
admired. Our heroes are admired. We are losing this. We begin, and this is simple. We can afford this. You know, build, generate our nice society, rising up and saying, we love this nation.
Okay.
This is to me the most fundamental. And number two, do the organization. Like, I will not say national mobilization, no?
Okay.
But we restore certain fundamentals. In the past,
Would you say ROTC is part of that?
well, you know, like me, I love my country. I can say this.
Okay.
And I think I gained it for being Cub Scout,
Okay.
Boy Scout, PMT, and then ROTC. This kind of steps, no? I didn't ambition to be Girl Scout, but you know, all of this, you know, we have a pattern in our society wherein you can express, and then in this, for example, Cub Scout, that are rising institutions in how we treat our young people, we begin to love the flag. We begin to be disciplined, which is very important. Discipline has nothing to do with listening to orders or following orders. Discipline to me is a method wherein a nation can work and act together.
Okay.
Now, when discipline is about being able to mobilize your nation to a particular action. This is very important, and we're not doing this.
So, what should the government be doing? You said we're not doing it. You know, what should they be? What program should they be considering?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to call it because we don't like ROTC, we don't like PFT, we don't like these things.
Okay.
But no matter what the term,
Right.
the important thing is we need to have a methodology or a kind of mobilization for our people, for our young people especially.
Now, the last time we talked, you were planning a series of dialogues. Could you talk about that? And does this fit into that plan to maybe raise that concern to a national audience?
You know, the dialogue should not have been necessary if that our people can begin to see real discussion happening in our Congress, for example.
Okay.
What are being discussed in the halls of where leaders are expressing their views? What are we doing? We are investigating all kinds of, I wouldn't say nonsense,
Okay.
but the important deliberations that will make our people, just like other peoples in the world, will not want to really engage in discussions, but they want to see their leaders discussing what is appropriate,
Okay.
what is relevant in society today. For example, we have a big divide, for example, in, for example, an issue like China.
Okay.
You see our leaders avoiding
Okay.
to confront the essential questions that will affect Philippine-Chinese relations.
Okay.
There's no discussion there because we're trying to put it down. But everybody wants to see, what's our position?
Okay.
Things like this.
Okay.
I think the important thing is for it to be seen in the halls of institutions that we are looking up to.
So, what should be seen? Because I mean, you brought up China, so I guess we circle back to friends to all, enemy to no one, and you said we have to refine that. How does that suggestion work now with what you brought up, China?
I understand very well the difficulties, for example, in being so, in military terms, to be so close to the United States
All right.
and seeming to be an enemy of China.
Okay.
But I think the middle ground that I was talking about is never mind the U.S. first,
Okay.
never mind China first.
Okay.
Let's look at ourselves. Let's look at the Filipino people beginning to be seen in the world, to be loving their country, to be prepared to defend their country,
Okay.
to be able to participate in conflict as a nation, as a people, with a particular, how do you call this? A kind of sentiment.
Okay.
A kind of sentiment that allows them to face any other nation. The coming in of friends like the United States will be welcome additions to what the Filipino can do.
Yeah.
You
Secretary, we have to take another quick break, but before we go, President Marcos said that the problems of Southeast Asia have to be resolved by Southeast Asians. I guess referring to ASEAN. Would you agree? Disagree with that mindset?
ASEAN has a very fundamental role, and we should really be engaging ASEAN in a most serious manner. Number one, ASEAN. Then later on, ASEAN plus.
Right.
See, we have to look at the plus.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, we'll be right back with Secretary Norberto Gonzales. This is Business Politics. Please stay tuned.
Did you know that water is the only drink that can quench your thirst? Drink Galilee Purified Drinking Water. Every bottle undergoes advanced scientific process to ensure a safe, clean, and pure bottle. So what are you waiting for? Drink Galilee Drinking Water. Every bottle is a labor of love. For delivery, contact Galilee Purified Drinking Water at 0956-658-4195 or 0998-466-0202 or 8572-1869.
Pwede pang pamilya, pwede rin pang negosyo. Paborita, bro, asgali, pwede bizcocho. Oh, tunay na masarap at kakanap. Hanapin mo, halina, tikman ang sarap nito. Deliver door to door, via sunshine to your door. Oh, sa buong araw, swak na swak sa panlasa. Sarap ng sunshine spread, at sunshine to your door. Yeah.
Welcome back to Business and Politics. We're talking to Secretary Norberto Gonzales. Sir, you were saying earlier that Congress seems to be talking about other things, right? That doesn't deserve as much attention as they should. So, the I think expectation was with the big majority won by President Marcos, the super majority he holds both in Congress, both houses of Congress, should move things along rather quickly. But you're quite concerned about that setup. As you said, you're not happy exactly with what the lawmakers are giving attention to. What's missing?
Well, you see, we have almost near 100% majority.
Okay.
For example, in Congress.
Mm-hmm.
You have this support. You have 31 million votes.
Right.
Wow, what an opportunity.
Right.
Politically speaking. But Majority for what?
Okay.
I mean, where are we going as a society? Have we defined our future? What are we looking for? No? What kind of society do we have? What do we want for our people? Are we really addressing the fundamental questions of confronting our people today? There's no definition of that. No.
You were saying, I think the last time we talked, you were commenting on Senator Kit Tatad's column, saying that there's a need for an opposition. Is that what you were arguing about, or is it something else?
Well, you see, there are no alternatives
Okay.
Politically speaking, in the Philippines, you really don't know what to choose because there are no choices.
Okay.
No. I think in a way, what we're trying to do is just continue what we already have. It's really more of the same being repeated and probably at a bigger scale.
Okay.
Let's start looking at alternatives. We need a politics of alternatives. I'm a social democrat. No, we're looking at very simple rules like if you will support a particular policy of government. What is your consideration in formulating a particular policy? In the case of those Democrats, we say the common good. Then you define what is the common good. For example, when I cited to you what to do, we will allow you support the industry to really run, but you must have
organization, unions.
Workers. That is social democrat.
So for those who are not familiar with it, Secretary, what's the difference between a social democrat and a communist?
Well, the communists believe in a one-party state. That the political party is superior, is what is the most, it's even above government. It's the dictatorship, not of a person, but of a political party. But of course, it ends up being the dictatorship of the head of the political party. In the case of social democrats, it's belief in the fundamentals of democracy. That people believe in the strength of being organized, of being together in particular issues or concern in society. That is why when you look at the structure of many social democrats in the world, you have the party, you have the association of, for example, of agricultural workers, of workers, of women. So it's really giving our people the opportunity or the mechanism where your opinion on particular matters will be heard or will be acted upon. So it's really the decision of the whole society. There is a design or a formula for it so that it can your individual opinion matters or it contributes to the whole. In the case of the communists, the party thinks of everything for you.
So what's keeping you from organizing or maybe increasing your movement? What are the hurdles?
Well, you see,
to as you said, coming into a force that offers true alternatives rather than false alternatives that you mentioned from the left.
Yeah, you see, for example, what is the communist trying to do? Two things. It's creating what they call a revolutionary situation. Wherein the initiation of particular conflict wherein you divide society into classes. And they will fight and
revolution.
The revolution. So number two, increasing their capability to force the nation to become communist.
So what's your big wish for the Philippines? What's your dream?
Becoming first world. And becoming first world require a particular model of society. A particular philosophy on how you will work. I try to express this in some ways. I'm happy that I get some attention. But you see, we are facing a more difficult political. Yeah, you want to be in government.
Well, the Marcos government also says that they want to be, they want a prosperous Philippines. I think you want that as well. When you
Yes,
said you want to be first world, but you're also talking about alternatives. I mean, where do you fit in relation to the incumbent government?
I don't know.
Okay.
Because there is not much that we're hearing from the government today. No, so you really cannot classify our government whether left or right.
Right.
No, they're Marcos.
Okay.
That's clear.
Okay.
That many of our people trust that the Marcos family will do something good for the country.
Okay.
So it's about a person, a family, belief. We have not seen it yet. Maybe it will come, but it's not there yet.
Okay.
So these are things that, what will be our alternatives? Well, models of societies is what we're trying to introduce. Please let us choose models.
Yeah. What model would come to mind when you think about your dream of a first world Philippines? You've been around the world. What's a good model for us to look at?
The Nordic countries.
Okay.
Singapore.
Okay.
They have succeeded.
Okay.
And they're social democrats.
Okay. And what needs to be done now, I think, to get us on that track?
Well, in my case, continue organizing.
Okay.
Continue consolidating the social democratic forces in the Philippines, because it begins by being in government.
Okay.
If you don't get there, difficult.
All right.
Yes.
Well, Secretary, it's always a pleasure talking to you. But before we go, maybe you'd like to give a short message before we end the program?
Sorry, not much to.
Maybe a call to action. Invite people to join the Social Democrats.
Well, I remember during our interview, I just said, do not fear.
Okay.
Our people should not fear.
Okay.
Dreaming of a future.
Okay.
They should not fear dreaming of a future. They should not fear of working for that future. We should not give this up. This right to think of the future, fight for a future, is something that we should not give up. This is something that we should assert ourselves to be part of.
All right. Well, Secretary, thank you very much for your time. I'd like to thank our viewers watching this program, those watching a live episode and watching the replay. I'd like to thank Pastor Apollo Kibuloy for making this program possible. This is Business and Politics. I will see you next week.
This is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.
Nais mo bang mapanood ang SMNI sa telebisyon? Kung ikaw ay Sky Cable subscriber, narito ang mga channels kung saan pwedeng mapanood ang SMNI. Sa National Capital Region, Sky Cable Channel 162. Cebu, Sky Cable Channel 37. Davao City, Sky Cable Channels 14, 43 at 46. General Santos City, Sky Cable Channel 37. Zamboanga, Sky Cable Channel 53. Bacolod, Sky Cable Channel 37. Iloilo, Sky Cable Channel 36. Dumaguete, Sky Cable Channel 37. Baguio, Sky Cable Channel 14. at Lawag, Sky Cable Channel 10. Para naman sa mga Signal subscribers ay mapapanood ang SMNI sa Channel 186 sa buong bansa. Maaari ring mapanood ang SMNI sa Digital TV sa Davao City at Manila, pati na rin sa TV Plus at GMA of 4 Bucks. Ano pang hinihintay mo? Panoorin mo na ang SMNI sa inyong telebisyon. Dahil dito sa SMNI, taong bayan ang bida.
SMNI. Balita. Totoo.